Does Tom want to go into the boxing world and maybe fight a Tyson Fury, maybe fight a Deontay Wilder?
I don't know if he does, but I think if you get into that top percentage of the sport, the UFC do not pay anywhere near as much as the boxing does. And I know, being around Tom every day, that when he spars good boxers, he spars good. So I think he'd do really well against a real high-class boxer.
With Zuffa Boxing under Dana White's leadership, do you think there could be an eventual crossover where you get a massive super fight that could be on a Netflix?
It doesn't depend on me, that depends on Dana White. But I think Tom has the ability, because I've seen him box at the highest level against some real good guys, that he could be at that level.
Title was on the line against Alex Pereira. You'd be happy with it being a feature fight?
It'd be cool to fight over the heavyweight championship, but I would also willingly give up the heavyweight championship. I walked away from the light heavyweight championship, and I'd love to walk away from this one as well, on top, on his own terms, good head and shoulder, making lots of money. I love the position that I'm in right now. Fighting Pereira for the Banff belt, that'd be cool. We both have 2 belts in 2 weight classes. The night we fought, we'd be both fighting for our 3rd belt, which would be the Banff. How cool would that be? You heard it here first. I haven't had this conversation with any other.
The UFC heavyweight division is in turmoil, and much of the blame is being directed at Dana White. Fighters are growing increasingly frustrated. Fans are outraged, and the future of the division looks more uncertain than ever. After years of loyalty, sacrifice, and commitment, many of the top heavyweights appear ready to walk away. Insider reports suggest that fighter pay has been quietly reduced, particularly for elite heavyweights, sparking outrage and creating major unrest behind the scenes.
I'm seeing it all online. Tom quit, Tom quit, Tom quit. It got dicey out there for him and he quit. That's what the people are saying. Complete hogwash, complete nonsense. If you just watch it, you will see that those were 2 nasty, deep eye pokes. You could say that he lost that first round. I think he lost that first round. I think we all agree that he lost that first round.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could. I mean, that is fair game. But to suggest that he quit, that he wanted a way out, that he looked for a way out because the going got tough, is just something that I'm not going to subscribe to. You know, Jon Jones is going to weigh in. This is the guy. This is the guy. For the record, Jon Jones was offered for the millionth time $30 million to fight this man, and he didn't. You can't claim after the fact, this is the guy, but you know he's going to spike the football. And there's a cruel irony involved in the fact that Tom doesn't fight Jon Jones but still gets eye poked. But this is tough for him. This is the first time in his career where he's not going to be beloved by people, because people are going to accuse him of being a quitter, because they're going to say that the going got tough and he asked for a way out. I think that's absolute hogwash. He got poked in both eyes
and laid there on his back until Jon submitted him. Against the cage, Garn was sat there, not moving, not bucking, not shifting or fighting hands, sitting there like this until Jon locked up the guillotine on him. I'm very aware of what happened in that fight, and do I wish Tom would have finished him earlier? I do, without resistance. That was the ideal circumstance for Tom Aspinall, was to finish Cyril Garn with no resistance in the first round. I think we see an overconfident Garn in the rematch, and I think Tom smokes him, but Tom was raging. So there's an emotional aspect to this rematch now that I'm worried about, because I've been looking for Bully Tom to make an appearance for a very long time, you guys. For a very long time, I've been waiting for Bully Tom to make an appearance. And he made the appearance on, what the fuck you guys booing me for? He genuinely made an appearance in the post-fight speech. The fuck you guys booing me for? I got fucking double eye poked. A double eye poke landed. Insane. Crazy. Horrible result for the main event. Worst case scenario. All things come together. It's weird how MMA works, is it not? Dirtiest fighter on the heavyweight roster, Cyril Garn, constantly cheats every single fight. He's a dirty little French cunt. Jon Jones is the nemesis of Tom Aspinall.
E aí, Acontece. I just got poked knuckle deep in the eyeball. Why are you booing? What am I supposed to do about it? I didn't do the poke. I can't see.
Tom, they should not be booing. I agree with you. You waited a long time for this moment. Talk to the disappointment of this being how it ends.
This is bullshit. The fight was just getting going.
At the heart of the turmoil is Tom Aspinall, who has reportedly decided that once his current UFC contract ends, he plans to transition to boxing. Aspinall has openly discussed the massive pay gap between the two sports and credited fighters like Francis Ngannou for paving the way for such moves. Like Ngannou, who left the UFC over issues of low pay, lack of respect, and ongoing friction with Dana White, Aspinall seems ready to follow a similar path in search of better opportunities and fairer treatment.
What was the holdup with the UFC? Like, what led you to not sign?
There was a lot of frustration over the years. I think since my fight against Stipe, my first fight against Stipe, my relation with the UFC had never been the same.
Really?
I feel like I wasn't in the right place. Then I get the Derek Lewis fight, who was like the worst fight, and that didn't hurt me at all.
You win the Cyril Gane fight. Then what happened?
I have no guarantee that signing this contract, I will not get into what I have been to in the past 3 years. So how about we change something that will make me feel secure?
And what did you want to change?
A lot of.
Now, Tom Aspinall, widely regarded as one of the most talented heavyweights on the UFC roster, is beginning to see the reality for himself. Following his devastating eye poke against Cyril Gane, Aspinall was hospitalized with serious damage. Yet Dana White's response was viewed as cold, dismissive, and highly unprofessional. Rather than showing concern, White publicly stated that Aspinall chose not to continue, a comment that angered fans and fighters who understood the true severity of the injury.
The UFC guys are fighting without any understanding of how much revenue's in the pot. What time does the UFC fighter go, hang on a minute, how much money is in the pot here? You kind of need me, don't you? I mean, I'm the talent. Without me, do you even have a show? Yeah, maybe you can put someone else on. But I've just sold this arena out. I'm just racking you up 400,000 or 500,000 pay-per-view buys. So you imagine you said to a star in the UFC, right, it's your show. And we're going to have open book, and you're going to take 80% of the profit of the show. And we take 20%. Imagine how much the UFC fighters would be making. 5, 6, 7 times more than they're making at the moment. The UFC guys are fighting without any understanding of how much revenue's in the pot. And these guys don't care because, and by the way, it's their business. They can do what they want. If they can get away with that model, good luck to them. But in that model where it's a league or it's a contender series and the guys are getting 50 if you win this fight and 100 and then 200, it's peanuts. How much are they getting from Paramount? You know, if it's multi-million dollars per show for the rights fee, which it probably will be, the profit is unbelievable.
Dana did do an interview with 60 Minutes. There were two things that I thought were really interesting. He loves to talk about freedom of speech, and he'll say freedom of speech is very important here. And then he'll say the most important type of speech to protect is hate speech. That I don't quite understand. Why is it more important to protect hate speech than just speech in general, all kinds of speech? If freedom of speech is so important and freedom of hate speech is so important, then why isn't freedom of press important as well? Because as we know, and let's not even talk about myself, long before I came on the scene, there were issues between Dana White and the press. And of course, my situation is probably the most notable one. But why don't you feel the same way about the press? If you feel so strongly about freedom of speech and freedom of hate speech, surely you should feel strongly about freedom of press, especially when the press isn't even being critical in any way, shape, or form. You just want a certain type of press. That to me is a contradiction. Also, he says, I don't believe in destroying people's lives if they make a singular mistake. I mean, I sit here today, he has tried actively to destroy my life because I reported some news, some fight news. Again, Dana White didn't dislike me because I was critical of the UFC. They didn't like me because I was reporting fight announcements. So if you don't know these things, I can understand why you would sit there and be like, you know what? I like this guy. But if you know and you lived it and you've watched him and you've covered him, you know that this whole thing now, the freedom of this, freedom of that, freedom of this, freedom of that, is a little hypocritical.
Those comments struck a nerve and confirmed what Tom Aspinall and his family had already suspected. Even before the fight, his father, Andy Aspinall, had expressed that he didn't want Tom to remain in the UFC long term. Instead, he hoped his son would finish his current contract and transition to boxing, where he could earn real money and receive the respect he deserves. It's not bitterness, it's simply a reflection of the sport's current reality. And it's not just Aspinall feeling this way. Alex Pereira, fresh off another major victory, has also hinted at exploring other options, including moving up in weight or even making the jump to boxing, signaling a broader shift among top fighters seeking better treatment and pay outside the UFC.
Does Dana White hate Tom Aspinall? Because in the post-match press conference, he was going at his heavyweight champion like he absolutely did not like him.
I mean, he had Tom bloodied up, and Tom didn't want to continue in the fight.
And his key word there is didn't. He didn't say Tom Aspinall couldn't continue, insinuating that he's a quitter.
I don't know if it's because Andy Aspinall's saying Tom wants to go to boxing and he'd love a big payday in boxing, but that's just Andy being a manager and a dad negotiating.
I'm going to be honest, I'll give Dana the benefit of the doubt. He could have easily just misspoke. And the fact that if you do watch the YouTube that Aspinall put out, Dana White's in the locker room before wishing him all luck. I'm sure he's on good terms with Tom Aspinall and his father, because Dana White, let's be honest, if he doesn't have Tom Aspinall, he doesn't have a heavyweight division. If you saw the other heavyweight fights that were on this UFC 321 card, absolute arse.